All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. Hope you all having a great day so far. So I had a member's request to check out this video from Basketball Universe, and this one is titled "The Most Insane and Historic MVP Race, 1996," which is that's a spicy one because that's when Michael Jordan came back from retirement. Most of us know. Actually, I won't even say who won the MVP because there's probably some that don't know. But you will know by the end of this. I remember Penny Hardaway basically at his peak at this time. Like, you can call this season his peak or you can call 97 his peak. Either way, he was right there. We had other monsters like David Robinson and Hakeem still tearing it up. Patrick Ewing was still playing great. This should be interesting because I never actually looked at the MVP numbers, like the voting numbers, and who was really that close. I assume Karl Malone is way up there too. You know, Shaq might be on the rise at this point too. So let's take a look at this, you guys. As I always do, I'm going to link the original video down below in the description. You also see a list of channel members. Shout out to you guys. I appreciate y'all. And without further ado, I'd like to just get right into this one, guys. Like the video if you could. I'd appreciate it. And without further ado, hit that hype button if you got any. And really, without further ado, let's do it. Wait. Apathetic Rebirth 00. Welcome in, man. I don't think I ever welcomed you in for your membership, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Guys, let's rock.
It's the most historic and overlooked MVP race ever. The players that are voting the top 5 were at the top of their game. We're going to discuss the regular season performances of Scottie Pippen, Hakeem Olajuwon, Penny Hardaway, David Robinson, and Michael Jordan. We're going to start with the 5th place and finish with the MVP winner. Make sure to comment on your take on who was the most deserving. If you had the luxury...
I mean, I always go with, okay, most valuable player doesn't mean the best player. If that was the case, we'd get a way different variety of MVPs all the time. You know, like you could have a losing record, but say you scored 35 a game, you're probably going to be the MVP. That's not how they do it. So considering that the Bulls went from where they were the previous season in 95, you know, which was like a middle of the road record, to literally the greatest record of all time. Well, until the Golden State Warriors, but at the point, you know what I mean? The greatest season of all time, but up until that point when they voted, they had the greatest regular season of all time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure one guy coming in, Michael Jordan, I'm pretty sure it was really easy for the voters this time. However, it doesn't mean that there wasn't competition. It just means that because of the impact, the value shown, it's got to be one guy.
Of watching the 1996 Chicago Bulls in real time, then you are fully aware that they were much more than the greatness of Michael Jordan. Although they certainly benefited from having the MVP, it was the way they incorporated the team aspect of the game that allowed them to have such a historically dominant season. Everyone played their role to perfection. That includes Scottie Pippen, who was the second best player on this juggernaut of a team. Here's how we know that his contributions were vital. The Bulls produced the highest points per game average and offensive rating in the league. Pippen was the orchestrator of their offense, as he was their leading assist man. He was also their second leading scorer. On the defensive end, the Bulls produced the best defensive rating. Scottie's non-stop zeal and commitment to playing high-intensity defense is what set the tone.
Yep. It was a three-headed monster out there between Michael Jordan, Ron Harper, and Scottie Pippen. Oh, did I forget Rodman? A four-headed monster. The only one who wasn't really great at defense was Luke, and it was more like mental lapses, mental mistakes he was making. But 4 out of 5 being like absolute hound dogs in your starting lineup defensively, yeah, no wonder why they won so many games.
For example, this is what their assistant coach, Jim Clements, said about his immense value. Scottie had a phenomenal season. He carried us through the first 40 games. When I say carried us, I mean his energy in terms of rebounding, driving the ball up the floor, defensive presence, and the whole 9 yards.
I mean, to be honest, that season was fun because you saw one season of Scottie Pippen who enjoyed being the leader, and then by the second season, he hated being the leader, and now it's just like everyone fell into place. Scottie was so happy to have MJ back. MJ assumed his role, and Scottie was able to do all the other things again. And that's when everything was bliss with them. You know, Jordan's the commander, and Scottie doesn't have to worry about it. He goes around. He's your floater. If you guys ever heard that term in any workplace, It means he's doing a little bit of everything, but you could just let him do it because he's doing good stuff wherever he goes.
Quote, his contributions cannot be overlooked. For a player like him, you have to look beyond the box score. You have to actually watch him play to truly appreciate everything that he brings to the table. But the numbers don't look too bad either. He averaged 19.4 points on 46% shooting, 6.4 rebounds, 5.9 assists, and 1.7 steals per game.
I believe he probably had a block a game too.
That allowed him to finish first team All-NBA and All-NBA defense. There were games where he truly looked like one of the top 5 players in the game. Take, for example, what he did against the Indiana Pacers.
Jordan off the fake around the key and tipped home by Pippen. Off the double team, Pippen with the
Those
steal.
long arms, man.
Pippen all the way.
Him and MJ were torture for passing lanes.
Down to 2 as Pippen fires and hits. Kerr and Scottie Pippen on the floor along with Kukoc, Rodman, and Wennington and Pippen.
That was a lot of footage of Pippen with the second unit there, it looked like.
Fake. Oh, Scottie Pippen.
He recorded 40 points on 54% shooting,
Damn.
10 rebounds, 5 steals, and 2 assists.
He lit him up
But
that
that's
day.
not the most impressive part. Michael Jordan recorded 44 points
Jeez.
on 55% shooting, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 steals, and 2 blocks.
Dude.
This makes him one of the few pair of teammates to score over 40 points in a game.
Who else has done it?
On nights where they were both clicking like that, they were
Really? Genuine question. Who else has done it? Teammates getting 40 in the same game? That's crazy.
impossible to beat. It's true that for the most part, he wasn't having these kind of performances, but it's important that we consider the context. It was reported that he was battling with a bad back, aching knees, and a nagging ankle injury throughout the year. It was an assortment of injuries that he was facing due to the extensive miles that were mounting on his body. Think about it. Jordan took a 21-month hiatus after retiring. The only other player remaining for the 1993 championship winning team was him. He was the one that was carrying the Bulls to the playoffs those 2 seasons. On top of that, he was averaging an incredible 94 games per season since being drafted.
I mean, a little bit of context. I'll say both Jordan and Pippen basically tortured their bodies. Pippen because he kept going on the grind. You know what I mean? Went to the playoffs again. And then again, last season, not too deep in 95 with Jordan back. However, that's a lot of miles on your body. And then Jordan did maybe even worse. I'm not sure, but it was voluntary, so you can't feel bad for him. He went from basketball to all of a sudden needing to get into baseball shape and restructuring his entire body. And then a year and a half later or whatever, having to restructure his body again back to basketball. So honestly, like, yeah, they both did some bad for their body, but, you know, what are you going to do?
It's only normal for
But
all
Pippen definitely injury-wise, it started mounting up. And this was his last truly awesome year. Because I'd say from like 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96. So for that like 6-year run, Pippen was like, yeah, Pippen was a badass. But after this, the injuries started mounting up. And yeah, by 98, it's hard to watch him actually by 98 because he's so beat up. His back is beat up. His legs are busted. It's just a lot of miles, man. No load management back then.
of that to take its toll. Then we have the chase for 70, all the pressure and the attention they were facing to make history. But that didn't stop him from continuing to play at a high level. It was common knowledge to everyone how valuable he was for the Bulls at the time.
So easy. Look at this. Look at this play.
It was common knowledge to everyone how valuable he was.
Look
for
at
the
that. I was like, jeez. Good times. Good times, WGN.
Bulls at the time, hence where he finished in the MVP race, and it's something that we shouldn't doubt either.
Okay.
Nobody's
Okay, wait. So Pippen was 5th in MVP voting. Wow. All right, cool. All right, it's a number 4, Hakeem.
stock was higher going to the 1995-96 season. He won the last 2 titles and finals MVPs. He had back-to-back historically great playoff runs. We're talking top 10 worthy. His career was validated and legacy was solidified. These were accomplishments that couldn't have come at a better time. He was 32 years old after winning his 2nd title. It's extremely rare for a big man to be the best player in the world at that age. With all that mileage, could he continue playing at that level? Or are we going to see a steep decline? For those waiting on his downfall, they were going to have to suffer a little longer. The numbers were incredibly similar to what he produced in the previous regular season.
Yeah, at this point, it seemed like he gained a little bit of weight. That was the only thing I noticed that changed with him.
Check out this graph.
Other than that, his moves were all the same. He still had everything in his bag that he ever had. I love Hakeem because he started out the way he started in the 80s, and he was good, but he got progressively better every single year. New tricks, new moves every single year, and it wasn't just physical force dominance as a big man, which was very common back then. He had guard moves in the post. Yet he knew his range. He wasn't shooting threes, doing any of that modern stuff. He was staying in the block, but he had unlimited moves to pull from. And I absolutely love that, man. Because most big men, you see like a Shaquille O'Neal, they come in with a handful of moves. We're shocked about it, but then they never create new ones. Hakeem, the exact opposite story. Every year, new moves.
As you can see, the numbers were only slightly worse. He had every right to still be considered one of the 2 or 3 best players in the world. At that stage of his career, what he was doing was simply unheard of. Did you know that he recorded the highest points per game average from any center that was 33 years of age or older?
Damn.
In fact, he and Kareem are the only players to record over 25 points per game. It's crazy that he was able to maintain an MVP level production. This is what happens when you're arguably the most skilled post scorer in league history. Even if he didn't have the same speed or athleticism, he can still score anytime he wanted.
I mean, look how patient he is in the post, you guys. I mean, his moves are different than Jordan's moves in the post, but they have that same similarity. They can get you 5 different ways, and they're going to be patient enough to see which one you're going to give them, and then they're going to take it.
Plenty of examples that proved his individual greatness. There were 5 total games where he scored over 40 points. There were 2 instances where he was a rebound. There were 5 total games where he scored over 40 points. Nice. There were 2 instances where he was a rebound or 2 away from posting a 40-20 game. Then there's what he did against the Boston Celtics.
Olajuwon with that spin move, fall away. Oh, what a shot to Timmy Bro. Timmy going to take it right down to Olajuwon. He's in for the slam.
Oh, yeah, you overplayed him.
Game tied at 82. They'll take it to Olajuwon again. Working on Raja, fall away. Baseline.
Oh, Dino Raja?
Position. Over to Olajuwon again. 4 on the shot clock.
I haven't thought of that name in a long time.
Little fadeaway. Oh, the dream. Anybody. Now he's finally, there's Olajuwon taking it to the middle.
Got you.
Little fake. Puts up the jumper. Yes.
Got you. Got you on the pump fake and then split you with the one-hand toss.
Monster performance. He had 51 points on 54% shooting.
I mean, look at all the different ways he's scoring in the same spot. You know? You can't just play him up. You can't just play him straight up and expect you to be okay. You have to go for one of his moves. If you just stand straight up, he's going to get you every time. And if you go for one of his moves, he's going to counter you. Good luck.
14 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. It was the second highest scoring game of his career. But there's something you have to know about Hakeem the Dream. There are very few players who could fill up a stat sheet quite like he could. He has recorded some of the most insane stat lines. This season was no exception. For example, he had 2 games where he posted a triple-double involving blocks.
Wow.
He posted 31 points on 62% shooting, 13 rebounds, 10 blocks, and 6 assists against the Dallas Mavericks.
6 assists just because.
Only he, Kareem, Wilt Chamberlain, and David Robinson have posted over 30 points, 10 rebounds, 10 blocks, and 5 assists in a game.
You hear that, Wemby? Something to work towards. By the way, look at all these moves in the post. Learn them. Also, learn Kareem's skyhook. Also, learn how to just grab the ball right under the basket and throw it down with 2 hands like Shaq. Do these things. You will be unstoppable.
But that's not all that he did.
Flings it into Hakeem. He got it! Olajuwon wins the game! Yep. Olajuwon wins the game!
That's right.
You know, I hated these Rockets because of the rivalry with the Suns, but just like the Lakers, I've grown to... I respect these guys so much. I actually like this team. Except for Mario Elie. That guy can go to hell with his kiss of death.
Provided the buzzer-beating shot. He was doing it all for the 2-time defending champions. Out of necessity, he needed to play at this level in order for the Rockets to stay afloat. They dealt with so many injuries. Clyde Drexler missed 30 games. Mario Elie missed nearly half the season.
Suck one.
Sam Cassell missed 21 games.
Alien.
Kenny Smith missed 14 games. And Robert Horry missed 11 games.
This is the guy that used to get hold on.
Games.
That's the guy that Charles Barkley says used to get Hakeem's water all the time.
Missed 14 games, and Robert Horry missed 11 games.
The GOAT!
Their 5 best players couldn't stay healthy. It got so bad that there was a point where the Rockets had more active players who played in the CBA that didn't.
Wow.
That's a lot of pressure on Hakeem to carry this team, and his body was breaking down.
That sucks, yeah. The old man is the guy who's staying, who's not injured. That's crazy.
Towards the end of the season, he was suffering through tendonitis on both knees. He also missed 10 games. If we're going to be honest, it was amazing that this team nearly won 50 games. They had a 48-34 record, which was the 5th best in the West. Unfortunately, It seemed like league voters held the team's struggles against him. He was snubbed for finishing in the top 3 in MVP voting, even though he finished 2nd in points, 4th in blocks, and 6th in rebounds. The numbers say that he was a top 3 player. The way he carried a team that was suffering through...
Well, once again, I'll remind you, well, I didn't say it in this video, but record is very important. So I think I alluded to it earlier. Record is very important, and they were a middle-of-the-road team. So almost no matter how good you're doing in a middle-of-the-road team, you're rarely gonna win. And especially when you got somebody like Jordan on the other end who just won 72 games. You know what I mean? Like that's really what it is. A lot of times we could look at the statistics and the MVP voting doesn't make sense from year to year. However, if we look at like who's got the best record, unfortunately, it usually goes to the best record. And maybe we got to swerve away from that a little bit because it's getting predictable, you know, like a race like we had last season. Why did it go to SGA? Because they had the best record. That was really it. Outside of that, it was such a close race at the top. I believe if OKC didn't have the best record, they would have given it to whoever did have the best record. So it's a little predictable on that end.
So many injuries was very impressive. Who else was truly more valuable to their team other than Michael Jordan? But the league voters compensated the ones who led their team to better regular season success. Due to this fact, there are those who believe the false narrative that he fell off a cliff after 1995. That couldn't be farther from the truth. He was still a monster, and there are still those who weren't counting them out for winning a 3rd straight title. That's how high he was regarded and how well he was playing.
Yep. All that changed was the jerseys. I didn't like those new jerseys. And honestly, I say Hakeem gained weight. Maybe he didn't. Maybe it's just that the new jerseys looking weird on him. Penny Hardaway. All right. I'm glad he was on here because I always remembered him as like he was, man, he was next.
Penny Hardaway was different. He was only in his 3rd season. He hadn't reached his true peak yet, but he was already being mentioned among the top players in the league.
I gotta say, Jordan got me into basketball. If Penny didn't get injured and he kept playing like he was here, I mean, basically from the second he was drafted all the way to like here in 96, even 97, basically until he got injured, he might have been my favorite player of all time. I absolutely loved the way he played. Like, I love that he was a killer offensively whenever he needed to, but I also loved that he was always looking for the pass. And he took all the accountability and responsibility as a leader, even when he had Shaq on his team. He had it all. He could have been my favorite, man. And in fact, he was, outside of Jordan, he was my favorite during this time. I was heartbroken when he went down with injury.
Better yet, he was already drawing comparisons to Magic Johnson. We never got to see the best of Penny, and we still all remember how great a player he was during this time. His peak was truly...
Can I just show you that again, guys? Like, look how quick this move is. He's going to establish a post and then watch.
I remember how great a player he was during this time.
Sick.
His peak was truly influential and memorable. In the 1995-96 season, we got to see what he could do individually and how he could lead a team to greatness. The expectations that they had for this team.
Real quick, if you think it's hot wherever you are, man, dude, I'm sweating right now recording this. It's 112 degrees outside, and like I can only keep it to like 81 degrees in the house right now. And I also, like, while recording this, because I'm using a microphone, I can't have my fan on high, so my fan is on low. Man, this is brutal.
through the roof, but those expectations were halted after they received some tough news. In just a week before the start of the season, Shaq broke his right thumb.
And if you're wondering why the AC is where it's at, it's because if I go down to 78 or something, I might blow up. No joke.
He was forced to sit out the first 22 games.
Yeah.
They were going to miss the most important piece to this team. For example, in 1995, he won the scoring title and he was runner-up for the MVP. He averaged a stat line of 29.3 points on 58% shooting, 11.4 rebounds, and 2.4 blocks per game.
It's interesting because the same thing happened here that happened in LA with Kobe. So Shaq gets injured. He misses a bunch of games. His number 2 takes over and dominates while he's away and recovering. And then he gets jealous at the attention they're getting. Because Penny did that here. And then Shaq did the same thing to Kobe. And Kobe was dominating, getting like 40 points a game. You know, he was on like a historic run. And then Shaq comes back and he's jealous of the attention Kobe's getting. It's so interesting psychologically how this jealousy, this one thing, insecurity and jealousy led to all of this, man. I wish Shaq would have stayed in Orlando Magic his whole career. Him and Penny together.
That's who they were going to be without for the first quarter of the year. This was indeed a devastating blow. This was going to be a huge test for Penny Hardaway.
Step up.
Was he good enough to lead a team on his own?
Sure was.
His first test will come in the 7th game of the season against the Chicago Bulls. You know, the team that would end up winning 72 games. They were fully healthy and they were out for revenge. This was the first matchup since the Orlando Magic knocked them out of the playoffs. Michael Jordan was waiting all summer for this moment. With that context,
45-8,
you would
23.
think the Bulls blew them out by 40 points.
Oh yeah, well 23 gave you 45 in the last game.
Except the opposite happened.
Hardaway comes around the screen, splits the defenders, great move offensively. Contact gets out of the way. Hardaway with a 3. Hardaway has it again and backs in against Michael. Fades. MJ right there and Hardaway hits. In the third quarter.
If you guys are ever wondering why the footage is blurry in these videos from Basketball Universe, I think I figured it out. Somehow with this, whatever's going on, it's not getting copyright claimed. It's kind of brilliant because we can still see what's going on.
Hardaway one with Michael. Fades. Baseline jumper goes in. Across the floor. Tipped. Out to Hardaway for 3.
The Orlando Magic beat the Bulls 94-88. He ended the game with 36 points on 67% shooting, 5 rebounds, 4 steals.
Horace played 42 minutes, shot 1 for 6. What happened to you? What happened? he played so good against the Bulls the previous playoffs. 6 rebounds, 1 assist, a steal, 4 blocks. All right. 2 fouls. So he just shot terrible, I guess. All right. Penny Hardaway. Bear with me, guys. I enjoy this stuff. 12 for 18. Damn, Penny. 66%. 6 or 7. 5. Okay, shooting great from the 3. 90% from the free throw line. Total rebounds 5, 4 steals, 0 assists, Penny. Interesting. 36 points. But this is why everyone always just compares him to Magic Johnson. And I get a lot of crap whenever I say he was like a Jordan Magic hybrid. Basically meaning whatever he needed to do, he would do. If he had Shaq, he'd be a pass first guy. If he didn't have Shaq, he'd be a Jordan type of guy, a killer. And this is the type of stuff this is why I looked here. I was kind of hoping I would see this. So 36 points and 0 assists. Does that look like Magic Johnson? No. But guess what? The next game, if he had to, he would get you 15 assists and 12 points. Whatever it takes to win. That's why I always said he was like a hybrid to me.
Steals and 2 blocks. This was his moment to showcase what truly made him such a special player. He was someone who could impact the game on both ends of the floor. Even with one of the best individual defenders hounding him, he was ultra efficient. He was able to get his way because he was so skilled. Michael Jordan gave his thoughts about him and the team after the game. Quote, when the big guy is in there, they seem to have to go in there and they have to get it back out, and the defense has a chance to set up. Here, they isolate you and use their ability quite a bit, which puts pressure on the defense. Yeah. End of quote.
That's true. Even though it's very effective when you got the inside out game with Shaq, it is predictable because you know he's going to get the first touch. You know what I mean? First touch, double team, then he dishes it back out to Penny, and then, you know, close out on Penny, and we go from there. You know, after that it becomes predictable. But those first couple of steps are always predictable with Shaq on the court. It's hard to stop it. Now, without Shaq, Penny's freelancing, and yeah, that's a lot more unpredictable for sure. I get what Jordan's saying.
And that's exactly what the team orchestrated with O'Neal out. They changed the offense by using Penny much more in the low post. That way, he can exploit his size advantage over his defender. Eventually...
You see that, LeBron? We've been waiting for 20-something years for you to take advantage of your height and your build. This is how you do it. Back to the basket, buddy.
Teams decided to defend him with a forward, but that allowed him to find a mismatch. He showed a great balance of when to take over with his scoring and when to get others involved.
Remember Magic when he came back in 96? Was it? Whenever he came back and he was playing forward instead of point guard, or point forward, whatever you want to call it. But really Van Exel was playing point guard. What did he do in that time? He fucking got his ass in the post every single play. He was doing baby sky hooks, and he was making awesome passes out of the post. Man, back to the basket is a powerful position. And it's interesting because I do see a lot of young people comment when I talk about, you know, back to the basket. And he's like, how are you supposed to see the floor? I guess you haven't played basketball. Yeah, you're back to the basket. You can see over your left shoulder and your right shoulder. It's simple. We've been doing it since the beginning of basketball, since I can remember at least. That's how you do it. So when I make those criticisms about somebody like Kevin Garnett, like Kevin Durant, who's getting trapped at half court and he doesn't know what to do because he's just facing up. Well, yeah, turn your back to him. They can't get to the ball without fouling you, and that's how you secure the basketball. But I saw a lot of young people being like, you can't do that. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, you could literally like dribble the ball up the court with your back to the basket if you're forced into that position. The hard part is doing that within 8 seconds.
Game span, Penny averaged 26.4 points on 50% shooting, 6.8 assists, 5.3 rebounds, and 2 steals per game.
That's crazy.
That was nearly a 6-point increase from the previous year. The Orlando
those
Magic
are MVP numbers right there.
Also had a 17-5 record. They were tied with the Houston Rockets for the second best overall record. Hardaway proved in a resounding way that he could do more and lead a team on his own. Once Shaq made his return to the lineup, the Magic continued their winning ways. A big reason for that is that Penny adjusted to a secondary role without any complaints. He could have caused a lot of off-court issues if he demanded a bigger role. Instead, they finished the season with 60 wins, the most in franchise history.
And isn't that the irony? Instead of him asking for more, he fell right back into his role, did his job, but Shaq still created drama out of it.
That is impressive, not just because Shaq missed 28 total games, but also because the Magic never lost their way from a roller coaster ride of a season. There's all the drama surrounding Shaq's injury, his free agency decision looming over the franchise, and some of the locker room drama that was brewing between those two young stars. But while they were in the middle of a commercial war, they were producing magic on the floor. None of the outside noise stopped him from playing his role to perfection. Although there is no question that Shaq was their best player, people quickly came to realize that Penny was their emotional leader. He was.
If you're wondering why you can't hang on the rim anymore, this is why. that pose, by the way, that is the Shaq pose.
People quickly.
If I'm not mistaken, that was the first logo he had, and also when he had his first Shaq shoes back in the day with Reebok, that was that was his Jumpman logo, you know.
Realize that
Dunk
Penny
man.
was their emotional leader. He was a key piece behind this dominant season. He deserved to finish third in MVP voting behind Michael Jordan and David Robinson.
David Robinson, yep.
Now let's take a look at his overall numbers. he averaged 21.7 points
51.
on 51% shooting, 7.1 assists, 4.3 rebounds, and 2 steals per game.
He did it all, man. He did it all. Defensively, too. He was great. And it seemed like everyone was ready to run through a brick wall with him.
The difference in the scoring numbers from the beginning of the season is the biggest indicator of how much he had to sacrifice his game once Shaq returned. Now let's take a look at his best performance. That came early in the season against the New Jersey Nets. He had 42 points on 62% shooting,
Lord.
8 rebounds, 8 assists, 5 steals, and 2 blocks.
And there's a lot of people nowadays who say that he was overrated. Like, he wasn't all that good. You guys are exaggerating. I really don't think we were. That's like saying we're exaggerating about how great D Rose could have been. Like, I don't think we are. I think we saw greatness, but it only lasted for a couple of years, so it's easy to forget. But it happened, man.
It was an exciting triple overtime victory. On top of that, he was extremely clutch that year. He had a total of 3 game winners. Seriously, there wasn't a single weakness in his game.
Yeah, what's he not doing? What's he not doing enough for you guys, you know? What's he got to do to prove himself?
I can speak for many people when I say that he is one of the most talented and gifted players I've ever seen.
And you can watch the games. There's not an empty stat. He's not going to get you one empty stat. They're all impactful stats. They all matter.
For a short period, he had the NBA in the palm of his hands. And we're still talking about his greatness nearly 30 years after this amazing season.
Yeah, I mean, if Jordan would have stayed retired, never came back, and Shaq and Penny would have stayed together and Penny wouldn't have got injured, that's a lot of what ifs. I think Penny would have taken over the league, you know? And then Kobe would have been, on the rise, a handful of years later. And then we would have had one hell of a rivalry right there. The Admiral.
The 1995 season for David Robinson.
Did you guys see him during the playoff run last season? Him and Tim Duncan showing up to the games? I thought that was awesome.
San Antonio Spurs was a step in the right direction. They won 62 games, which was the best record in the NBA. The Admiral won his first MVP award, and they reached the conference finals after years of playoff disappointments. There was a reason to believe that they could take the next step and reach the finals.
I don't know why I was a big fan of Vinny Del Negro.
Especially with the way David Robinson was playing. He remained a force on the offensive end and a monster on defense.
And Sean Elliott.
But we're talking about the best players of the 90s. This player doesn't get brought up enough, but he completed one of the most underrated 3-year stretches. Yeah. He finished runner-up for the MVP in 1994. Then he won the MVP in 95.
I mean, honestly, historically, the reason that David Robinson doesn't get nearly as much respect as he deserves, in my opinion, is because, like, we remember him in the 90s being this guy. However, by the time they won a championship, he was busted up. So, like, everyone, when they remember that championship, they think of Tim Duncan. That's the beginning of Timmy's story. And I understand. But they were the Twin Towers for a reason, you know? And I don't know. If you look at the numbers, it's going to look bad. Yeah, if you're a numbers guy, those finals are probably going to look bad for David Robinson. It is what it is. But, I'll never forget. David Robinson was a badass. Who's better between him and Timmy? I mean, the winning is the winning, so I can't say much. But I don't know, man. If it wasn't for the championships and all that, David Robinson was an absolute force to reckon with in the 90s. I'm just going to leave it at that.
He finished runner-up again in 1996. There's a strong case to be made that he was a top 3 player during that stretch. What he was doing for this season shouldn't be overlooked either. Take a look at his historic averages. 25 points on 52% shooting, 12.2 rebounds, 3.3 blocks, and 3 assists per game. Did you know that this is only the 10th time that a player's averaged over 25 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game? On top of that, he led the league in defensive win shares, defensive blocks plus minus, and defensive rating. He also finished second in rebounds and third in blocks. This obviously played a huge role in the Spurs finishing third in defensive rating and opponent's field goal percentage. The per-game numbers and analytics gave him a strong case to win the Defensive Player of the Year award over Gary Payton. The way he was impacting this team on both ends of the floor was astonishing. It was clear that their success started and ended with him. And just like we mentioned for Hakeem, David was also someone that could fill up a stat sheet. Take for example when he scored his season high in a double overtime thriller against the New York Knicks. He recorded 45 points on 58% shooting, 16 rebounds, and 3 blocks. Then there was the game against the New Jersey Nets where he looked like prime Shaq. He posted 44 points on 75% shooting, 9 rebounds, 5 blocks, 4 steals, and 4 assists.
Monster.
But to truly have an idea of what he can do on both ends of the floor, check out what he did against the Portland Trail Blazers.
Get him. He can do so much.
One of the things you want to see is David Robinson beats everybody back, trying to come back to the same play. David Robinson down on the post against Dudley, an easy 2.
6, it'll be the worst in 72, 73. You don't want that to happen.
Man, what a move.
Robinson, no relation to David.
Get out of here.
Down to Aaron McKee, blocked by David Robinson. Robinson comes to the ball side.
It's a bonus.
Against Sabonis. There's the quickness.
It was a masterful two-way performance. It was games like these where he made some question if he was the MVP. He finished with 39 points on 55% shooting, 9 rebounds, 8 blocks, 3 steals, and 3 assists. His performances,
a lot of people would have eaten a lot more if it wasn't for Michael Jordan.
The numbers were historically great, but there's something different about David. He was taking his role as a leader seriously. In the previous years, it was not something that he felt like it was necessary to do. He confirmed that notion when he said this to Sports Illustrated. I used to have the idea that I just had to come here and take care of my job. I thought that was what professional basketball was all about. I do my job, you do your job. If we all do our jobs, we win. I know now that I have to do more than that. End of quote. And to his credit, he made a conscious effort to score less and allow his teammates to shine.
That might be how it is in the military. I can understand that. Unfortunately, outside of the military, most people need motivation to do their job. And yeah, I guess that was the reality. Oh, it's my job as a leader to keep everyone in line, make sure everyone is accountable and doing their job. Unfortunately, we have to do that. It would be nice if we were in a world where everyone just knew their job and they just did it without like any drama. You know, that would be great. Leaders wouldn't have to really lead that much. Outside of that, it'll be like more big picture leadership. All right, guys, this is what we're going to do. Go do it. That would be great. I'd love to be a leader in that world.
That led to Sean Elliott averaging his career high of 20 points per game. He was even selected to be an All-Star. Avery Johnson also ended up having the best year of his career, and he finished 3rd in the league in assists. The result was that the Spurs ended up having the 2nd best record in the West. During the 14-game winning streak that they had late in the year, New Jersey Nets coach Butch Beard said this about San Antonio: "This is a ball club that could very easily win the whole thing." That was the expectation the league experts had as well, that they would at least reach the finals.
That would have been fun. It would have been really fun to see a Spurs-Bulls finals.
You couldn't blame them for feeling that way with the way David was playing. Everyone always talks about MJ and the Bulls when discussing the 1996 season, but let's not forget that the Admiral had an all-time great season from the center position.
I liked Avery Johnson. I liked a lot of that team.
Jordan was seeking revenge. There was nothing more exciting and dangerous. He was determined to put the disappointing playoff defeat against Orlando Magic behind him.
Literally the most fun basketball season I've ever watched because it is.
And he showcased the final evolution of his game. This propelled the Chicago Bulls to have the most successful season in NBA history. The plan was simple. He was going to beat his opponents with his brain rather than his hops. He took his time reading the defense, he picked his spots, and he was more of a jump shooter than ever before. In fact, he shot a career high 42.7% from the three.
Line. But yeah,
it's true that this occurred during a very brief era where the three-point line was shortened. It went from 23 feet 9 inches to a uniform 22 feet around the basket. But shooting about 43% from 22 feet out is still very impressive.
It's funny how things change. Back then, David Stern was trying to increase scoring, you know, so he was like, okay, let's shorten the three-point line. Now we're at the point where scoring is so inflated and so ridiculous and there's so many threes. We're actually talking about like moving back the three-point line, but we can't because of the baselines. You know, like that. It's so funny how we've gone complete 180 from where we were there. It was so defensively focused in the 90s, and now it's so offensively focused. And we're like, how do we like bring it back a little to the 90s?
However, he spent most of his time scoring from the post. He recognized that his size brought a lot of favorable matchups against many of his opponents. When he combined his precision shooting impeccable footwork, strength, and his unstoppable fadeaway, it's no wonder that he remained the most dominant scoring threat. On top of all that, he still had that killer first step, and he could finish above the rim whenever he wanted.
Honestly, I think him and Hakeem are my two favorite post players of all time.
Phil Jackson confirmed how Jordan's game evolved since coming back from retirement, according to the LA Times. I think it has evolved because he's much more conscious about taking his time and figuring out where the defenses are.
Patience.
He's not always in attack mode now. Sometimes it's passing the ball, just drawing the double teams and finding the open guys. End of quote.
There's no see a hustle. I show you a hustle.
Where the defenses are.
He's not always. He's gonna make the unselfish play.
In attack mode now. Sometimes
drew the double team, got the open man, and now we got
the ball.
Yeah, okay. They don't even bother closing out on him. That's unfortunate. But now no one's on MJ, right? Because he's not taking a shot.
Just drawing the double team.
Gotcha.
And finding the open
Pip,
guys.
Man. Him and Pip. Love it.
End of quote. There's no doubt that he was a key to their incredibly efficient offense. Then we have his extremely underrated stat line for the season. He averaged 30.4 points on 49.5% shooting, 6.6 rebounds, 4.3 assists, and 2.2 steals per game. Did you know that it took nearly 20 years for a player to average over 30 points while being that efficient?
And I bet it was a big man. Oh, KD. Okay, never mind. Because I was going to say, and MJ did that with the majority being jump shots. Okay, but so did KD in 2013. 50% on the dot, 32 points. What else you do, KD? Total rebound. Hey, okay. Okay, KD had a hell of a year in 2013, huh?
It wasn't until 2014 when Kevin Durant was finally able to surpass those numbers. But by then, there were several rule changes that promoted a more offensive-friendly league.
Yeah, it's past 2010, but it's not like it's 2020 where the scoring's that crazy. So it's still impressive. I'll give him that. And I'm a KD hater, so I mean, come on. But I'm going to give him that one because that's pretty impressive for 2013.
For Michael to post those numbers during that era highlights how skillful of a scorer he was. But we're only telling half of the story. We can absolutely make the case that he was the man behind their dominating defense. For example, there are 4 different defensive categories where he finished in the top 10. He was 2nd in defensive win shares, 3rd in steals, 5th in defensive box plus minus, and 9th in defensive rating. Did you know they posted the highest defensive win shares by any guard since the merger? It has to be said that Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, and Ron Harper contributed immensely to their defensive attack. However, the case can be made that Michael was the team's most valuable defensive asset. This deserves to be mentioned when discussing the greatest two-way seasons from any player. The greatest example of this came when he played against the Detroit Pistons. That's when he did this.
Shot clock at 10. Jordan against Houston. Flips it up and in. Otis for Grant, and there's Jordan with the steal.
He's like, you gonna get it?
Here's another swipe for Michael.
Boy, he's had 3 of these.
Yeah, I think this is part of why they call him the Black Cat, man.
Offensively.
There's a tough follow
Those
away
paws.
over Jones.
Those paws are his.
Michael
Quick like
inside.
a cat.
The follow away, and he fills it up. Even Michael knows.
Oh, wow. Perfect swishes.
Wow.
Yeah, he's feeling good.
He ended the game with 53 points on 75% shooting. 11 rebounds, 6 steals, and 2
Good Lord,
assists.
6 steals. Okay.
This is only the 6th time in history that a player has posted over 50 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 steals
Leonard,
in a game.
2025? What? As a Clipper? 55, 11, and what? Dude. Man, when Kawhi wants a new contract, dude, he's a monster. 65%
On top of that
shooting? What the?
dominant performance, there were 8 other games where he scored over 40 points. Believe it or not, there were some who doubted that he was never going to be his old dominant self.
Yeah,
but he quickly shut them up by showing a whole other side to his greatness. This is what the New York Times wrote about Michael that season. Rather than erode Jordan's greatness, age has made him more transparent. As he begins to drift back in his physical gifts, we see more clearly what made him special all along. His drive and intelligence, his mastery of the craft, his thirst to prevail, and his cool palms when a game hangs for the grasping. End of quote. If you still believe
to me, I say this is no longer Air Jordan. Air Jordan ended in 93. This was now footwork Jordan, like fundamental MJ.
Individualist in a team's game. Just remember the number of wins the Bulls had. You cannot lead a team to the most successful and dominant season ever if you are a soloist. He was still putting up impressive numbers, but nothing was more important than winning. And he knew exactly what to do to lead his team into basketball.
Think about it. The year prior, nobody cares who was averaging what. They care that they lost to the damn Orlando Magic. That's all that matters. Win the damn season, essentially. Win the championship. Screw the averages. I don't think he can care less about what he was putting up per game. All he was thinking about was win every freaking game possible. And it basically did that.
Out of all the incredible accomplishments that he has achieved, leading the Bulls to 72 wins might be what he's most proud of, other than winning 6 titles. But what about you all? Do you think this was Michael's greatest season? Do you think they got the top 5 players right for the MVP? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.
Man, great video. That was a lot of fun. I feel like this one went on a long time. Sorry about that. It was really fun to comment on this. I think that was a great MVP race, honestly. Even Pippen, because this is the last time he's going to be up there. I think it's cool that he gets mentioned here. But yeah, it's unfortunate for all those other guys because they all had amazing seasons. And it was a hell of a race. And I never really thought it was that close of a race, but looking at those numbers, it really was. The only main difference was Jordan was just a notch above them. And then the team success of the Bulls severely trumped everything else that was going on in the league. And honestly, anything that's gone on in the NBA since, which is crazy to think about 30 years later. But anyways, yeah, well-deserved on his part. He earned it. And by closing it out and winning it all at the end of the year, like, we know who the most valuable player was of 1995-96. I think we can all admit it. And man, I'm always gonna walk away from videos like this just like, dude, Penny was so good. Guys, it makes me want to play some like NBA Live 95. Penny was my dude. I'd play as Orlando all the time because you had to like custom make a player 99 or a player 23 to get Jordan in there. But like Penny was in there legit, and I loved playing as the Orlando Magic. And yeah, I think to this day I'm still one of the biggest Penny fans. Even when he came, he was, way past his prime. He was so many injuries. He had gained weight. His knees were terrible. And he played for the Suns. I was still like the biggest Penny fan. I was wishing him the best. Same with when we, shortly after that, we got Grant Hill. And he actually had some good years here. Because Grant Hill is another one of those guys, the biggest what ifs. What could have been if it wasn't for damn injuries. Anyways, guys, I'm going to head out. Let me know what you thought about it. Did you know that it was so close in 96 that we had this much competition as far as MVP goes? Let me know in the comments. Love to see you there and have a conversation. Guys, I am out of here. I'm sweating bullets. I got to turn the fan on high for a little while after I hit stop and recover a bit from this. And I'm also going to drink water, my friends. Peace out.